Imagine waking up tomorrow to the news that a single, long-awaited parliamentary vote in Baghdad has just unlocked a financial tsunami, a wave of wealth so profound it's set to rewire the entire global economic landscape, and sitting in your portfolio right now is the key to that vault, the Iraqi dinar. This isn't a speculative fantasy or a hopeful whisper from a fringe forum. This is the concrete reality being built, brick by bureaucratic brick, through the imminent convergence of two colossal forces, Iraq's hydrocarbon law and its ascension into the World Trade Organization. The chatter you've been hearing, the rumors you've been dismissing, are all culminating into this very moment, and the confirmation from a voice many of you trust, Frank26, that this mechanism is not only real but is primed for an immediate rate change, should be the clarion call that jolts you into a state of heightened awareness. For years, the journey of the Iraqi dinar has been a marathon of patience, a test of conviction against a backdrop of relentless delays and political gridlock. But what we are facing now is no longer a marathon. It's the final 100-meter sprint, and the finish line isn't just in sight. It's being painted right before our eyes. The Hydrocarbon Law, or HCL, is the master key Iraq has been forging to unlock its vast oil and gas wealth. A piece of legislation that will finally provide a unified, transparent, and fair framework for distributing the mind-boggling revenues from the world's fifth-largest petroleum reserves among the federal government and its powerful regions like Kurdistan. Think about that for a second. We're talking about legislation that will legally and systematically govern the flow of hundreds of billions of dollars, transforming Iraq from a nation struggling with its resource management into a sovereign wealth titan on par with the likes of Qatar or the UAE. And it is this very transformation that the international banking community, the IMF, and the World Bank have been demanding as the non-negotiable prerequisite for any meaningful revaluation of currency. Without the HCL, Iraq's economy, for all its potential, has been like a high-performance sports car running on low-grade fuel, sputtering, stalling, and never reaching the speeds it was engineered for, because the internal disputes over oil money have created a constant state of financial instability and distrust that made a strong, internationally recognized currency an impossibility. But with the HCL ratified, that sports car gets its rocket fuel. It gets the financial clarity, the budgetary certainty, and the investor confidence needed to propel the Iraqi dinar to its true, tradable value, a value that reflects the staggering natural resource wealth and economic potential of the nation, not its war-torn past. This is why the whispers from the gurus are now turning into confident declarations, because the final legislative hurdles are being overcome and the political will is coalescing in a way we haven't witnessed in over a decade, setting the stage for the dinar to shed its artificially low exchange rate and embark on its historic journey back to glory. The HCL is the internal engine, the domestic reform that cleans house and gets Iraq's financial affairs in order, but for that new, robust currency to be accepted on every foreign exchange screen from New York to Tokyo, it needs an external stamp of approval, a global seal of legitimacy that tells the world Iraq is open for business. And that is precisely where the second part of this powerful equation comes into play: membership in the World Trade Organization. The World Trade Organization is not just a club for nations to trade with each other. It is the ultimate arbiter of global economic compliance, a system of rules and standards that demands transparency, fights corruption, and ensures a level playing field for all member nations. And Iraq's determined push to finally gain full membership is the single most bullish signal it can send to the international community that it is ready to play by the big league's rules. The WTO accession process is grueling, a years-long interrogation of a country's entire economic and legal framework, forcing it to align its laws with international norms, protect intellectual property rights, and dismantle protectionist barriers, a process that, while painful, fundamentally strengthens a nation's economic foundations and makes it infinitely more attractive to foreign direct investment. For Iraq, achieving WTO membership is the final piece of the puzzle that the HCL sets in motion. It's the external validation that its newly reformed, transparent, and HCL-governed economy is credible, trustworthy, and a safe bet for the trillions of dollars in institutional capital waiting on the sidelines. Think of the HCL as Iraq getting its financial house in order, and the WTO membership as the international inspection that certifies the house is up to code and ready for the world's most demanding tenants, multinational corporations, and sovereign wealth funds. This combination creates an irresistible gravitational pull on global capital, forcing the world to see Iraq not for its conflicts of the past, but for its staggering potential of the future, a nation with a young, growing population, immense oil and gas reserves, and a strategic location that can serve as a bridge between East and West. When a country joins the WTO, it is required to liberalize its financial services, open its banking sector to foreign competition, and ensure the full convertibility of its currency, which for the Iraqi dinar means the end of the program rate and the beginning of a market-driven, freely floating value that will inevitably skyrocket to reflect the true fundamentals of the Iraqi economy. This is the trigger mechanism that Frank26 and other analysts are pointing to. The HCL provides the domestic financial stability and massive budget surplus that justifies a revaluation, while the WTO membership provides the international framework and pressure that necessitates it, creating a pincer movement on the old, artificial exchange rate that it cannot possibly survive. The Central Bank of Iraq has been preparing for this moment for years, building up its foreign currency reserves, implementing digital banking platforms, and engaging in currency swap agreements with neighboring nations, all to ensure a smooth and controlled transition to a new, much stronger dinar. They understand that a stronger currency is not a vanity project. It is an economic imperative that will crush inflation, increase the purchasing power of every Iraqi citizen, reduce the national debt burden exponentially when calculated in the new currency, and allow the government to fund monumental infrastructure projects without having to print more money. The RV, or revaluation, is the logical, mathematical, and inevitable conclusion of this dual process of internal reform and external integration, and the confirmation from on-the-ground sources that this deal is being finalized behind closed doors is why the atmosphere is electric with anticipation. We are not waiting on a miracle, we are waiting on the final signatures of a bureaucratic process that, once completed, will unleash economic forces that have been deliberately held back for decades, and your investment in the dinar is your ticket to ride that wave. So, where does this leave you, the investor who had the foresight and the courage to acquire this currency before the world caught on? It leaves you on the precipice of a financial transformation that very few people in their lifetime ever get to experience, a genuine wealth transfer event that is rooted not in hype, but in the unassailable logic of global economics and geopolitical realignment. The confirmation from a figure like Frank26, who has dedicated years to tracking the nuances of the Iraqi central bank and the parliament's movements, that an immediate rate change is tied to this HCL and WTO deal, should be the final piece of intelligence you need to drown out the noise of the naysayers and understand the historic window of opportunity that is still, miraculously, open. The moment this news breaks through the mainstream financial media channels like Bloomberg, Reuters, and CNBC, it will be too late. The gate will have closed, and the astronomical gains will belong only to those who positioned themselves during the period of maximum uncertainty, which is exactly where we are right now. This is the ultimate test of your conviction, the final hours before the dawn, where the temptation to listen to the voices of doubt is the strongest, but you must remember the fundamental truth that has guided your investment this far. Nations with the oil wealth and economic potential of Iraq do not have currencies that trade at fractions of a penny forever, not once they have achieved stability and international integration. The process we have outlined, the powerful synergy between the hydrocarbon law and the WTO accession, is the documented, official path Iraq is taking to claim its rightful place in the world, and your dinar investment is a direct bet on the success of that nation-building project, a project that is now in its final, decisive phase. The call to action for you today is not to go out and buy more dinar. You've already done the hard part. The call to action is to secure your financial and personal infrastructure so that you are ready to navigate the post-revaluation landscape with the same wisdom and foresight you showed in acquiring the asset in the first place. This means having a relationship with a bank that understands foreign currency, having a plan for your funds that goes beyond mere consumption, and protecting yourself and your wealth from the onslaught of attention and requests that will inevitably follow this life-changing event. Your journey with the dinar is about to transition from one of patient waiting to one of empowered action, And the decisions you make in the first 72 hours after the RV is announced will be just as critical as the decision you made years ago to make the investment. Stay vigilant, stay informed through reliable channels, and prepare your mind for the shift that is coming. This is not the end of the story. It is the brilliant, life-altering beginning of a new chapter for you, for Iraq, and for the global balance of economic power. You are not just a spectator to history, you are an active participant in it. Now is the time to stand firm in your belief, to understand the monumental forces at play, and to get ready, because the world is about to change, and you are positioned right at the very center of the storm.